Hey, folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. This video for Monday, August 1st, 2011 is brought to you by Realtick. All right, guys, let's get right into the mix. The markets are getting hammered. What a wild day today. Dow is down 96 points, S&P is down 14, NASDAQ down 35, basically 1% or more across the board. The reason behind it, because there's still major uncertainty whether or not this budget deficit deal, debt ceiling deal will be passed. Tonight is the vote in the House and the Senate. We will know later today. And again, originally yesterday, the president came on TV last night on Sunday evening telling people that there was an agreement made. But the more we hear today, the more we see senators and different congressmen coming out and speaking out about it, not endorsing it. And that's making the markets very, very jittery. As you can see, we had this monster gap up, about a 1% gap higher today, and the markets just started to sell. And what a sell-off it was. We basically went from 131 on the SPY, which mirrors the S&P 500, down to a low today of 127.50. That's a 3.5-point drop. Basically, the first 3-point drop happened in the first 40 minutes, and then you went down another 50 cents or so throughout the rest of the morning. Markets are now trying to float up a little bit, but I just don't see them, unless we hear a definitive word that they think it will pass, I just don't see major upside in this market in the rest of the day. All right, we could uptick a little bit, we could downtick a little bit, but again, unless we get definitive word that it's going to pass tonight, it's not going to happen. The other thing that's weighing on this market's mind is the fact that the credit ratings, Moody's and obviously S&P, have basically said you need to cut $3 trillion over 10 years at least if we're not going to downgrade you, and that's not going to happen with this bill, folks. It's about 2.4 plus or so trillion, and if they don't cut enough, eventually the market is worried a debt rating downgrade will be on point. And obviously, we all know what that means. I mean, that means interest rates go up. Anyone buying a house is going to be paying more. Anyone getting a car loan is paying more. Anyone on, anything that you're borrowing money from, which everyone does, whether it's credit cards to a mortgage loan, is going to be paying more. And that's going to work like a tax, so it's going to slow the economy down. In addition, the ISM numbers today came out. And let's flip to the Qs here. We'll take a look at the Qs, which is the NASDAQ 100. You can see the same general chart, major gap up and loss here to the downside. But again, the same thing applies, is that the ISM came out today, and it was very, very bearish. It shows a major slowing in the economy. Now, in all fairness, I'm not surprised to see slowing with the way the government has handled this. Why would anyone be hiring right now? I mean, logically, it just doesn't make sense. So I hate to say it, but really, the government has fumbled the ball in a major way. If you were going to pass this, you should have passed it without all this fanfare and all this drama. If you're not going to pass it, you got to get to it and deal with it and do the right thing. Because as we see, the markets, no one's going to hire, things are going to slow, people aren't going to buy as much inventory because they just don't know what's going to happen. This uncertainty is going out into the markets. And again, the government, the politicians, this is their fault this time, folks. Look to them. If you want to punish them, don't vote for them next time. That's the bottom line. All right, we'll see how this all plays out, but nonetheless, what a mess for the markets. Let's go back to the SPY again. Take a look at the major gap up, the fall 1, 2, 3 bar surge to the downside. That's 40 minutes because each candle is 10 minutes. Downside move. Then you get the small bounce off of this area of support. The reason why this was such big support is because it's the pivot low right from here. See this pivot low area? The pivot low from Friday. And then again, that's where you meet support, but you get a bear flag, it breaks lower, you get right into this blue line, consolidate, slowly float up. Look at the volume die out as we wait for this vote later today. And again, from what I'm hearing, it's somewhere around 7 o'clock, but the key is they're not going to vote until they know they can pass it, probably, or at least they think they can pass it. All right, so again, that if they delay it, that's why. Remember, this happened with the House vote on Boehner's plan last week. They pushed it off to the next day until they knew they could pass it. I mean, it's everyone's just watching this at this point. And by the way, Italy's a mess again. Italy's a horrible mess again. Things are a mess. And by the way, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If they get this debt ceiling raised and cuts in the spending, it's not the end of the road. It's a short-term Band-Aid kicking the can down the road. Again, we will have to deal with this. So basically what this means is in the short term, yeah, maybe it keeps the markets from really collapsing down. If they don't pass it, by the way, and I just want to make this clear, if this does not pass tonight and we go into tomorrow with no deal and not even getting close to a vote, you will see the Dow down 500 points to tomorrow minimum. Mark my words. At one point tomorrow, you will see that. That's if it does not pass tonight or they don't do a vote because there's no possibility of it passing. The markets will get crushed. So it's one of these environments. If you're a swing trader, if you're a day trader, you got to be somewhat on the cautious side. I still angle for a bounce in this market in the purpose of thinking that they will pass it, and I think you get a little bit of a bounce, but I think it's a short-lived bounce. Much like today, the gap up, it came down. I think you maybe hold up for a day or two if it actually does officially get passed as the market breathes a sigh of relief on this portion, but it will be short-lived. All right, major stuff. Take a look at the dollar today. Dollar is having a monstrous up day. Actually, the Japanese government and players out there, Bank of Japan, I believe, came out and said something like they're going to intervene in the currency markets here and try to soften the yen because the yen has had such a big such a big push against the dollar recently. So then they don't want it. Obviously, a strong yen to them is bad for exports, so they want to lower that. And again, that's just more news out there in what's going on in this dramatic turn of events. I mean, issues going on in this market, whether it's globally or here domestically in the U.S. Let's go over some key stock charts. What's been moving today? The positives out there, what are they? Apple Computer, even though it's off its highs, still up $3.15 on the day. You got to tip your cap to Apple, folks. That continues to be one of the strongest players out there. In addition, Chevron, very nice move on Chevron today. It's off the highs as well, but still up $1.15. Very nice move on Chevron. On the other side of the coin, Exxon. You would think that Exxon would be participating with Chevron's rally. Not the case. Down 71 cents. What's looking good out there in terms of being a possible buy? I'll give you guys a couple. I think 3M is very cheap down here. If you take a look at 3M, look at this fall here, folks. And again, if we zoom out, see this little pivot low right here? Draw that line directly across, and there it is. So I like 3M down in this level. It pierced this level, which was also a good point down here. That was actually hit on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bounce on 3M here. It's come down from basically almost $100 to 85 in a very short amount of time. This is not a small cap. This is not a mid cap. This is a monster company, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if this is your pivot low on the charts on an intraday, on a daily basis for a 1 or 2 day bounce, maybe back to I'd say back to 88 to 90 would be a decent chance of a bounce on that 3M. In addition, AK Steel, folks, look at this drop after earnings. AK Steel is getting crushed again today. This is your pivot, though. Look at this. Pivot low right here. Draw it right across. Isn't that amazing, folks? Look at that beautiful level right there. Juniper is another one that I'm keeping my eye on. Also getting hit. Look at this drop from earlier in the year. Earnings, that was the reason for the recent drop. Look at this right down here. Another very, very good little area coming into this support. Should get a small bounce off that. Again, don't look for big bounces. They're not going to happen. But small bounces for a day or 2 or 3 days maybe. Maybe you get a small bounce on some of these players. Obviously, market, again, you have to be very careful. Any long positions, you have to be understanding that if this deal doesn't pass, you will literally have some sort of, minor, major drop tomorrow. I mean, I'm thinking, again, throw out the window 100, 200 points. Dow would be down 500-plus points tomorrow if that doesn't happen. In addition, I think it's all important that we look at this daily chart. Look at this pivot low, 1, 2, and then all the way here. And if we zoom out on this, it goes back even further. Right now, we're trading below this. Now, we haven't confirmed below this level, but this is big. I mean, there's no doubt about it, folks. If we don't recapture this tomorrow and confirm this drop and close below this level today and confirm tomorrow, this will be a major turning point in the market that we also have to recognize. I mean, there are big things going on here, folks. And again, I don't think a lot of people out there, a lot of the amateurs out there have any idea in their head about how major these levels are on the markets and what they tell us about the future. And again, I'm not going to go into any more in depth. I'm going to go into that in tonight's nightly video inside the Research Center. And I just want to invite everyone to make sure you take the free trial of the Research Center, take the free trial of the chat room. I'm in the chat room live, giving trades out, giving analysis, giving guidance. I obviously do the nightly videos inside the Research Center, hot charts and alerts. I put out another one today for a trigger buy. And again, you have a free trial available to you if you want to check it out. Go join us, make some money. We're consistently making money month on month, week on week, no matter what the markets are doing, because again, we're reading the charts and it's telling us to be either out of the market, in the market, or short the market. One or the other, long, short, neutral. And that enables us to always make more money no matter which way the market is going. So obviously take the free trial at inthemoneystocks.com, folks. We look forward to you joining us here and making money alongside the pros. Take care.